So today's video is going to be an exciting one. I'm going to break down the exact step-by-step tutorial on how to set up your Facebook ad campaigns to scale profitably during Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So with that being said, let's dive into Loom. I'm going to break down the exact campaign structure, our creative strategy, how we operate on lean operations, and ultimately how we're able to generate high profitable unit economics. So with that being said, let's dive into the ad accounts, the structures, the SOPs, the documents, and then from there, break down the high level shit nobody really talks about. So we're inside the ad account structures, SOP documents, and ultimately the high level objectives with step-by-step instructions on how we're able to properly scale and take advantage of the holidays, the seasonality, so on and so forth. But before I dive into specifics and before I can even cover ad strategy or campaign setup, we have to go over the fundamentals. So the protocol, after consulting 50, 60, $100 million brands, spending loads and loads of dollars on ad spend, and especially working with different founders in different industries. The brands that find success and crack direct consumer advertising have profitable front end unit economics. And that's typically with a high average order value offer. Most brands in direct to consumer have SKUs around less than $100 in retail price. So this is why I'm always trying to push a front end bundle. But I've seen other direct to consumer brands sell bikes or sell luxury goods well above that $300 plus mark or that $500 plus mark. But the same principles and philosophies apply no matter product, right? We need to have a compelling product in itself, and it needs to have market fit for it to even work. And then from there, we're utilizing ads properly to light fuel to the fire and increase our bottom line. So for us, we're focusing on one single channel. I've seen too many brands fail by trying to diversify too fast when they're at, let's say, less than sub 10K a month in total ad spend, right? I've seen brands do 3K a month in ad spend on Meta, try another 2K in Google, another 1 or 2K in TikTok, another 1 or 2K in YouTube ads. Like, you need to focus on one single channel and scale freaking hard on that channel, because if you don't have first order profit, if you don't have cash flow coming in, I'm telling you, you're struggling in this economy. I've had loads of calls with founders telling me they're struggling, right? So this is why the solution only works if you have the fundamentals in place. Do you have a product that has market fit? Do you have a product that can generate demand? So when you do run ads and you follow this formula, your chances of finding success is way higher, and you're more than likely to succeed rather than, let's say, other founders who lack those principles or those fundamentals. So overall, the ad account structure, how do we scale on Meta? Well, to keep it simple, what scales at those highs and lows amounts of ad spend? I'm talking 50K a month in ad spend, 100K a month in ad spend, even north of $1 million a month in ad spend. Simplification, keeping things super easy, keeping the process super easy. Because I can tell you, there's a lot of arguments in the industry. There's a lot of different philosophies in how to operate ads and how to utilize these mechanisms with paid social. But I'm here to tell you there's no right or wrong answer. I've been consulted by other mentors, and I have consulted other entrepreneurs. But nonetheless, from my own experience of testing these ad budgets, working with different brands, and coming in as a growth consultant and helping founders integrate in-house, I've just found this formula and this strategy to be super simple, but also allow founders to focus on higher revenue driving activities, if that makes sense. So with that being said, here's a breakdown. This is a bit different from your ABO manual test. Here's the reason why I've switched to this method. This is going fully broad. We're setting the ad budget within the campaign level, and it's within CBO, or formerly known as CBO. I believe it's like Advantage plus campaign budget or something like that. We want that feature on at the campaign level. And then we have at a maximum 3 ad sets. So as I covered before, we're going fully broad. Now, of course, you have to be reasonable here. If you have a product and your main customer base is women or females, and that's all your customer base is, just only target females or that demographic. Don't target males. Doesn't make sense. But of course, if you have a product that's more evergreen and you have somewhat of a balance, male base or at least a base for females, well, then I'd say go fully broad and don't do any specific targeting. But as far as interest-based targeting or making it more complex, no, I say keep it very, very simple here. 3 ad sets. We have our main ad set here that's hosting all the post IDs. And there's a feature on the ad set level called Dynamic Creative Tests. What this feature simply does is you're leveraging Meta's machine learning platform to build out combinations. So when we're creative testing, we're testing one single concept. So a concept that top of mind comes to me with this time of year, it's a gifting bundle or a gifting angle, right? So we might have one UGC video that's the gifting angle, same creator, same concept, and then we might have 2 variations with variations in the hook or changes in the time length. And then we might have a known winning ad copy, and then we might have a variation in new ad copy, same with headline. And now in a dynamic creative test environment, Meta is creating like 9 to 12 different combinations with all of these variables, and then from there allocating spend to what they deem as the best winning combination. So the idea shifts. If in this controlled environment we're trying to scale, we're bumping up, this campaign budget goes from $100 a day to now $500 a day. If we run a new DCT, right? Let's say we have 3 ads in the main winners ad set. This came from the winning combinations of previous DCTs we've tested, right? So now realistically, the main winners ad set on average gets around 60 to 55% of the ad budget within the CBO environment. So let's say we're trying to come up with new concepts in the DCT controlled environment. If both DCTs get very low spin and after 7 days or even 14 days, it struggles to even get, let's say, 40% in spend, well, then we just know this creative wasn't good enough to get spin in this controlled environment. These ads in the main winners ad set were simply still far more superior. So then we still have to go back to the drawing board and keep testing more and more and more and keep coming up with angles. But this beats out manual ABO testing, simply put, because what works on a $30 a day budget doesn't correlate, doesn't translate when you take that same ad copy or that same ad creative and then integrate that to a campaign that's spending $1,000 a day. There's always going to be a pitfall of inconsistencies when you're manually testing interest-based, interest stack, so on and so forth, right? So what I've noticed in the past is you're spending more time focusing on messing with audiences, messing with these other variables from the actual algorithm or on the platform, in which, I mean, you can't hack the algorithm of Meta. Meta's far more superior. Whereas if you go with our approach, going fully broad, you're now focused and more pointed to making better creatives, better landing pages, and better offers. Pretty simple. Because at the end of the day, I can guarantee it, any structure, you can run this campaign setup. Let's say we have a race or we have a competition. We have this campaign setup compared to a different campaign setup, but the variables were the same as in the ad creative, the ad copy, and then the winning combination. I can almost guarantee it that whatever is in the main winners ad sets more than likely going to be a winner in a different campaign strategy setup. But with that being said, now let's dive a bit deeper into what the structure actually looks like in action, so on and so forth. So from here, on a campaign level, if you're a brand and you sell products sub $50 as retail price on the front end, well, then realistically, you probably need a front end bundle to be at first order profit. So for every bundle we create or for every bundle we come up with, it has to be at least somewhat profitable for us to, of course, want to test it. But when we come up with that ideal bundle and the ideal offer, we want to separate it into each campaign. So if we have a bundle pushing a specific set of SKUs, this is in its own campaign. If we have a separate bundle or a downsell or a cross-sell we're running, well, we want to separate that into another campaign just for simplicity's sake. Now, the way I like to set up and name my campaigns, it varies, because if I have a campaign and it's at $500 in daily spend or $1,000 in daily spend, well, then I'm setting up automated rules, but I'll save that topic for another video. But to keep it simple, I keep my initials, so my company's Scale Velocity, and there you go, SV. I have the audience where we're going fully broad. I have CBO just to keep it intact on what's our objective, where's the ad budget set on what level, what sector. I have what we're optimizing for. At this time, I was optimizing for leads for a book a call. I had the offer there in place, and then I had ultimately what was the funnel. I had a 1-step funnel, and I A/B tested that against a 2-step funnel. Now, when it comes to setup, And the way you simply put, you would create, and then depending on what your objective was, buying type, auction. It depends. If you're a D2C founder, traditionally you're going to go for sales. Don't touch traffic, don't touch awareness, don't touch engagement. Doesn't make sense. From here, we want to click on, we just want a manual setup our campaigns. We don't want to use any of the Advantage Plus shopping, just because it plays on retargeting, and it's like we don't want to retarget when we have emails in place, so on and so forth, and we can hit that same customer base exactly for free. So I can also create another video on that as well. That's not an issue. But here's the setup. Here we go categories. There's no categories for us declared. A new sales campaign, we'd go scale, velocity, and then whatever we're optimizing for. Let's say one step funnel, just for clarity's sake. Now, campaign objective, here we're optimizing for sales as a DTC brand. We're skipping over catalog. Campaign spending limit, ideally we want to have none and have this campaign on credit card so that we don't have any spend limits and we can scale properly. But if you don't and you just have a manual debit card, that is fine. We just have to be mindful of budget, make sure if we're scaling, we have a credit line in place for the future notice. And then here's the Advantage campaign budget. This is basically CBO. Turn that on, and at a very minimum budget, I would say the very minimum you want to spend on daily ad spend is $100. I would say you can get by with $75, but that, I feel like you're wasting too much time. With media buying, you either pay with time or you pay with money. The faster you can get data back, the faster you can make iterations, the faster, of course, you can scale. So $100 a day in ad spend is the bare minimum you need for testing, and you need to let that run for at least 30 days. Now, there we go for the campaign setup. Now, let me break down specifics on structure and everything. So the very maximum, we want to have 3 ad sets running, but of course we have our DCTs in place. And the way we structure our DCTs, I have it where you have your DCT number, you have what the target or what the country we're going after, audience size, and then what the angle is or what kind of type of angle are we testing with this DCT. And then from here, male and female, and then what are we optimizing for? Of course, for me, I was optimizing for lead, but for you, it's going to be you're optimizing for purchase. And then here's the structure of the specific DCT. So I'm just sending traffic directly to the website. I don't want to send traffic to Meta Shops or whatever. I want all the data going specifically to Shopify. And then also I want to capture data points on our landing pages. So making sure that's intact. Here, we just want to maximize number of conversions. Here's just my pixel. The conversion event was schedule call, but for you, it's going to be ultimately complete purchase. And then for DCTs, we want to turn dynamic creative on. And then we have our start date. We don't want to have an end date. And then from there, as mentioned, location, United States, 18 plus, all genders, no exclusions. Placements, just Advantage Plus, super, super easy. And then from there, now we move on to the creative side. But from a DCT front, you have your main winners ad set. I can create another video down the line on how do you copy post IDs. But what happens is, and I'll break down the spin. When you're testing with dynamic creative tests, I can break this down by dynamic creative test. As I covered before, you're leveraging Meta's machine learning. So it's creating a ton of combinations of different variations of static images, videos, hooks, so on and so forth. And it's allocating spend to what they deem is best. And in this CBO controlled environment, this creative specifically got more spend. And ideally it was, if I look at the results and if I were to compare how many calls were booked or appointments scheduled, I would see that this generated more leads. It just generated more leads at a maximum conversion rate. So this is why it was deemed a winner. And then from there, we just put that in the main winners ad set. And that's, we're now testing, just constantly testing new creatives, testing, optimizing landing page to improve results, right? But that is the baseline structure. Now let's dive into the creative front. So here I just have DCT number. The type of direct response creative is a short form, is a static image, so on and so forth. The angle, variation, page. And then, as mentioned before, we have the same concept, but slight iteration in the hook and then time length. And then we have variations in the similar ad copy, sending traffic to a dedicated landing page. And then for me, since this is more of an info product offer, call to action was learn more. But for you, it's going to be, of course, shop now. And then it's very important you have your U teams in place, especially at higher spend. So triple well, so on and so forth. Just make sure that's in check. And then from there, you're all set up. But that is the process to a T. That's how you scale. And then when you're trying to duplicate, so you give each creative roughly 7 days and spin before you turn it off. If it gets no spin, well, then roughly let it run for maybe additional 2-3 days. And if it still doesn't get any spin, well, then just turn it off. It wasn't good enough. But let's say DCT was good and it is getting spin. It's getting at least 35-40% in spin and it's within KPI. Well, then from there, you can copy and paste that combination of that post ID, place in the main winner's ad set. So now as far as creative optimization, we're split testing the thumb sell ratio. We're split testing the hold rate. We're split testing variations, even with the click-through rate or even various B-rolls. But the main focus here is when we're going broad, our creatives do the targeting. So if our creatives can pinpoint a specific ideal customer profile, that's where we make our money. It's within the creatives. That's where most brands fail. In the creative process, in the call out, in the ideology, in the angles, in the copy, in the landing page, so on and so forth. So in the next video, I'm going to break down the specifics on how to generate creatives that get impulse purchases at a profit. But if you enjoyed this video, I'm going to share resources down below. Also, this paper breaks down what I just covered way more in depth. This is a free guide and I should be charging you guys for it, but I'm giving it away for free. So make sure you check this out. And if you have any questions, shoot me a message or shoot me a comment down below. And if you are looking for help, if you're looking to exit your company, if you're ready to exit your company and you want that aid to do so, right? My name is Chris Hernandez. I am a growth consultant. I help founders build in-house and ultimately get set up for exits. I worked with numerous D2C brands and I've managed north of $1 million plus in ad spend so far in my career in direct to consumer. If you need any help, you can book a call down below. You can check out our case studies and our testimonials. But if you feel confident enough and you understand these concepts at a high level, you can check out these resources. And I can guarantee you that if you read these resources, you're going to generate at least some sort of profit from the value I provide. So with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Cheers.